Welcome to the Cayman's Island podcast, where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers. I'm your host, David Cayman, and today we're going to talk about Brandon Aiyuk and the trade that never was, and Dre Greenlaw not wanting to play second fiddle. Let's get it. Now, currently it is 11:25 p.m. Eastern Time on March the 31st, 2025. So unless there's some crazy late breaking news that we don't know about just yet, more than likely Brandon Aiyuk will be staying with the San Francisco 49ers. There was a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors about BA getting traded to various different teams. Possibly New England, possibly the Chargers, etc. To be honest with you guys, I never really thought any of those trade talks would really come to fruition. When you look at the situation with how bad Brandon Aiyuk tore up his knee, all that damage there, reports are that he'll really be blessed and fortunate to get back mid-season and then try to get himself into some form of game shape by the end of the 2025 season. With that said, if you're another team that's out there knowing I was going to have to give that man over $20 million guaranteed, only being able to have him for half of a season, really at best, regardless of how receiver needy my organization is, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, much less giving up any substantial draft compensation to acquire an injured player. I will say that I was not a big fan of extending Brandon Aiyuk. Now, this is before any of the drama, any of kind of the bad blood that went back and forth between the Niners and BA's contract negotiations. I'm talking about way before that. As a player, I really like BA. I think he's a good number one for our system, okay? I think he plays the X very well in what we like to do. For the most part, he catches the ball. I know he had some struggles early last season, and I think that had a lot to do with the whole hold-in, weird contract negotiations back and forth. A lot of saltiness, if I could be frank, between BA really in the organization. And I think it really stemmed from what happened in the Super Bowl. I think that, if I'm Brandon Aiyuk, I understand the post, right? I understand the post saying, remember what got you here. And I think that Brandon Aiyuk was a big part of the 49ers' success in the 2023 season. For whatever reason, Kyle wanted to get his boy Debo involved. And, I've gone on record before saying I like Debo, but there's no need to force the ball to him. I think if Brandon Aiyuk had his number called a few more times on a few different plays, the Niners win that Super Bowl. With that being said, I think there was some saltiness over the fact that he didn't get the ball as much, and he felt like he deserved adequate compensation in a market where receivers are being paid a premium. For me, and what the Niners do, and how much money I knew BA was going to demand, I really felt like it would have been a win-win situation for the Niners to have traded Brandon Aiyuk. I think it would have benefited Brandon Aiyuk to be in a system where he's featured more. I think about him going and playing, alongside of Josh Allen. I think of him, playing for a Chargers football team where he can really be that featured guy in a system that really is predicated off of a more run-pass balance, where the Niners are just really a run-heavy team, set up play action. And even in that system, Brandon Aiyuk had success. I just think for the compensation that BA wanted, which is warranted and well-deserved, I think really to get the targets the numbers, the production that his contract warrants, I really feel like it would have been a win-win for him to go to another team. I really think that it's tough because I want to say that him going to the Steelers would be a better situation, but they just don't have a quarterback. They haven't had that consistency there since a Ben Roethlisberger. So I want to say that he would be featured more in Pittsburgh, but who's going to throw him the ball there? And I can understand him turning down the Cleveland Browns. I mean, those are franchises where you really go to, I hate to say this, but, kind of like, it's kind of doomsday scenario for your career. Now you have a situation where Brandon Aiyuk came in super rusty at the beginning of the year, all eyes on him, had kind of a shaky start. And I really feel like had Brandon Aiyuk stayed healthy, not injured his knee, he would have gotten back into game shape, gotten back into that old BA that the 49ers know and love. Now you have all the kind of back and forth. The only thing I could say is it appears that the franchise has some hard feelings. Brandon Aiyuk also has some hard feelings. And my hope now is, obviously, they're kind of stuck with one another, at least in the 2025 season. And maybe, if BA can get back toward the latter part of the 2025 season, get back to his old self, maybe this is a marriage that's meant to happen, right? Brandon Aiyuk can get back to doing BA things, and the 49ers and him can kind of put past all of that bad press and bad media situations that happened with him in the whole contract negotiation. And I really do feel like, Brandon Aiyuk put a lot of this on himself with the way that situation was handled. I say that now, and I look at how I would have handled a contract negotiation, and as a player trying to get that guaranteed money in the happenstance that you do get injured like Brandon Aiyuk did. So, like I said, they're kind of stuck with one another, at least for 2025. And I really hope things work out. I never want a player to be hurt or get injured. So hopefully now that this, you might as well say this deadline for trading Brandon Aiyuk for this $20 million plus bonus has passed us, we can kind of put this topic to bed and get back to the business of football. I do think that the Niners are going to have to address wide receiver in the draft, get an extra body out there on the field to help Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall. Of course, George Kittle is going to be George Kittle, and really hoping that we can get a contract extension worked out with George and get CMC back in there and get our offense some sort of stability. At least hang on until Brandon Aiyuk can get back in there and we can work him in there, kind of slow. The next topic of conversation I really want to get into is Dre Greenlaw. Reports are that the 49ers, kind of in the 11th hour, last minute, submitted an offer higher than the Denver Broncos to keep Dre Greenlaw as a Niner. It appears from all these reports that Dre Greenlaw really didn't want to play second fiddle to Fred Warner, hence why he just decided to go on to Denver. I can see that. I like Dre Greenlaw. Dre is kind of like a throwback player. He's got that rugged toughness, man. He just, he goes after it. He grinds every play. I mean, he hits hard. There is, it's like turning on a light switch. It's all the way on as soon as the game starts. And that's really, if you look across the league, there's not really many linebackers that still have that toughness, that grit, man, that mentality to go after it like Dre. I'm definitely going to miss him. One of my favorite players on the 49ers. And you just look at the way he came back and played that essentially just only a half of football. I mean, he came out there like he came out there like we remember him in the first half of the Super Bowl against the Chiefs. Had not lost a step. I mean, it was crazy. And his energy, his moxie was so electric that just trickled around to the entire team. And we were just playing lights out. Definitely going to miss Dre. I will say this, though. When I look at that particular report, and I do believe there's some validity to that. I really do. I could see Dre Greenlaw wanting to go to a place where, he can be the Fred Warner of the defense, right? He can be the captain, the unquestioned leader. Now, I will say this, though. Denver, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, had the number one defense in the NFL last year, and he's already going to that defense. So could it be a combination of the fact that he does want to be known as that dude, along with going already to a solid system, going to a solid defense, a defensive line that can stop the ball, that can stop the run game and give him some help, so that way he's not putting such a toll on his body, really, helping the run game where he can keep himself a bit more healthier. Is it something underlying with the organization? Did he feel slighted that we didn't come out with the best offer in the beginning? I really feel like it's a combination of all those factors. I really feel like, the team, the players on the Niners definitely showed Dre love, and he knew. I think he knew from a player standpoint, they definitely wanted him back on the defense. You hear Robert Salah basically, beating on the desk, standing on top of the table to bring him back as a fixture of that defense. It's sad. I'm going to miss him. I definitely wish him the absolute best of luck, man. He's an awesome player. I'll be rooting for him, over there in Denver, especially against teams like the Kansas City Chiefs. But yeah, just wish him the best until, of course, he plays the Niners, in which he has to have absolutely 0 tackles. So tell me what you think in the comments. Are you going to miss Dre as much as I am? What are your thoughts about, Brandon Aiyuk and the 49ers kind of being stuck together, at least for another full season, to see what happens? If you like what you saw today, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you for your time. Take care. Be blessed.